Right, everybody, another Wednesday night, another Stranger Things episode. Just going to do a few shout outs while I'm waiting for some people to come in. Hopefully we're going to get a few people in tonight because the guy who's coming on is brilliant. He's over in Australia, down under, and he is got up at like 5:30 to watch this. So please, it'd be great if you have a good turnout. Loads of questions. Right, some good. Hi, Alan. Thanks for sending me the pictures, by the way. Hi, Mel. Right, brilliant. Right, so now I'm now going to get Simon, and we'll go from there. Right, let me just request him. Just got to do shout out to Billy Planet Antiques. He's got a big selection. If anybody wants to go and have a look at that afterwards. Right, here we go. Hopefully this should all work. First time I've done an Australian guest, so we'll see how it goes. Hi, Rebecca. Simon. Well, this is great. Simon, thank you for getting up at a ridiculous time in the morning.
It's actually quite funny though, because I'm usually up at about 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's now 5:30 in Sydney, and I'm usually up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the studio working on my stuff. So when you said to me, "Oh, you have to get up at 5:30," I thought, "Yeah, piece of cake."
It's easy. Right, so can you just give people like a brief sort of well, I've sort of told everybody, about what you do basically, but if coming from you, and also the name, where did you get the name from as well?
All right. Look, I started my interest in sharks when I was about 13. I was living in Italy at the time, and then we came to Australia, and I didn't really know anything about Australia apart from the fact that it was a bloody big continent and there were lots of sharks. Yes. So I actually got interested in looking at the sharks then. And in those days, I mean, we're talking the 70s here. Jaws had come out, so there was a lot of good and bad about Jaws having come out. So there were a lot of mixed feelings, let's say, towards the sharks. I think in those days, sharks were more seen as something which were going to bite you and kill you as soon as you got into the water. So the mentality was slightly different. I started doing jaw restoration. I started doing cleaning jaws, mostly for game fishermen, because in those days they used to go fishing for sharks.
Yes, yeah.
Every shark they caught, basically they used to string it up and have the usual pose with
picture.
And so I was cleaning jaws for them, and I noticed that a lot of the jaws that were being cleaned by other people it was a pretty bad job. It was like, to me, it was disrespectful towards the shark. So I kind of started doing a few little adjustments and my own techniques. And then over the years, it just kind of ballooned into more interesting stuff, like doing skeletons and doing skulls, like you can see.
Right, cool. What one's that, Simon?
That's a thresher shark.
Okay. I think is that what that one is there? Look, is that behind me? Look, this girl, bless her, she sent me this, Simon. Can you see? And
yeah,
it's got like
it probably looks more like it actually looks more like maybe a tiger shark or a white shark. But if I can, and I know I'm sort of going off subject, but I'll show you the tail of this thing.
Cool.
It's quite incredible. That's the tail.
Wow.
Of this shark.
That is incredible.
I don't know if you actually see it, but what I've done is I've done one part, I've left the skin on it.
Yeah.
And the other part I've done, you can see the vertebrae.
Oh, great. So, yes. Wow. So it could be such a good teaching aid, really, couldn't it? Because you can see.
It is, because people don't realize that the backbone of these sharks goes right up to the tail. So, sorry, divert. So going back to that, so over the years, I've now started doing the techniques such as doing these skull mounts, because sharks, I don't know if people know, that's a mako shark.
Yeah.
They're all cartilage. There's no bone in them at all. So the techniques for them is very different from normal taxidermy. So they're very, very delicate, very intricate. And the word Elasmo-Morph came from, Elasmo is the Latin name for sharks and rays. And so it's morphing them from the real thing, from the actual shark itself, morphing into the skeleton or the skulls.
Brilliant.
I mean, as an example, I'm doing one now, which is a mako shark. So that's
Right.
the
Okay.
mako.
Yeah.
Then I'm doing the other
Oh,
side. Which,
wow. So you've got the others. Oh, that's amazing. That is. And you've perfected this yourself. There isn't anybody else that really does this, is there?
when I first started out, Ed, there's nothing. There's no textbooks. I mean, all the textbooks that you see about taxidermy, etc., are about mammals and birds and fish and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
There's nothing on sharks. It's such a niche thing because you have to treat them totally different because they're just all cartilage.
Yeah.
So there were no textbooks, and it was all stuff that I developed over the years, and a lot of trial and error. A lot of the times I just stuffed it up badly, like you wouldn't believe.
Well, a lot of the fish taxidermy is basically like foam just painted, really, isn't it? Do you know, and then also a skin over it, that sort of thing. It's not actually the fish, is it, as such? You know, whereas yours is sort of like a wet specimen type thing, but obviously you perfected it, so you've got the cartilage and the skin, and you've got just an amazing piece, basically.
Nowadays, I think also with the advent over the years, they develop techniques with fiberglass and what have you. So now, if you catch a fish, if you catch a marlin or a swordfish or whatever it is, they basically just look at the blank and go, "How long is that fish? Okay, that blank will do," and they'll just do it that way.
Right. Someone's just asking. It's not only sharks that you do. You do everything, don't you?
Well, I try. Look, I try and specialize. I think one of those things is you can actually do too much and you don't do it well. So I tend to specialize in mostly sharks. However, I've also started doing swordfish and marlin, the skulls, and I just so happen to have one here.
Brilliant. Let's have a look.
That's what I've done. So I've just finished doing a swordfish skull for a client here in Sydney, and that is just. I mean, these animals are just
incredible.
I can't even explain to you how incredible these animals are. But having said that, the amount of, I mean, the eye just itself, the eye is just, it's just ridiculously large.
It is incredible.
The problem with these things, of course, is they have so much oil in them that when you try to degrease them, we're talking months of degreasing because they're just soaked in oil. And I didn't sort of really figure out why they were so full of oil, except for when I started reading about them. And the oil is actually used both as a lubricant, but also the temperature control. So the eye itself, around the swordfish, is packed with fat and oil. Yeah. So it actually keeps the temperature of the eye at a constant, but it's actually diving really deep. Right. So you don't get the distortion of the lens for when they go hunting. It's just incredible stuff. And I learn new stuff every single day. It's quite incredible. About
each species that you have as well, because you get sent them from museums as well. Is that right? And sort of, do you do stuff in museums? Yeah.
Yeah, look, I do. I've been asked to do. I did a whole mako skull, a whole mako skeleton for the Australian Museum a couple of years ago. It was caught in one of the nets of Sydney, and it ended up having like a couple of hooks in its stomach when we did a CT scan of it. So we did the whole skeleton of it. So I'm doing a lot more work now for universities and museums. It's one of those things that most people would see. The first thing that they see about a shark is just the jaws. That's it. That's the first thing that people see. But when you start looking at them like this, you realize how incredibly intricate and fragile these animals are.
Because originally the only thing you did see was a jaw, but you've taken it to a new level, so you're actually seeing the whole parts of the skeleton or the cartilage as such, aren't you? So
that's right. So
No, sorry. So can you ship these to? Can someone buy these off you? Are they for sale? Basically, because someone did ask earlier on the comments.
I don't actually have like a catalogue. It's stuff that I do, and usually people contact me and sort of say to me, "Oh, do you have a jaw from whatever species?" And I will end up probably either having one, or I will be getting one in, or the same thing with the skulls. Sharks now, quite a number of sharks are actually under CITES. So people who follow you obviously know what CITES is about.
Yeah, of course.
So the Convention Against Trade of Illegal Species.
Yeah.
And so these skulls, like for example, makos and white shark jaws and oceanic white tips, they've all come under CITES, so they need paperwork for that.
Yeah, of
And
course.
in
Yeah.
both cases, the paperwork is there. So it's a long process to get the skulls out to people. But I ship them overseas. I've shipped them everywhere, to Holland, to US, Germany, everywhere. It does take time to get the paperwork.
Get the paperwork, but there's also certain species that don't need the paperwork, isn't there, as well?
Right.
You know, and a lot of your, I mean, most of your stuff is, you have a lot of antique and vintage pieces as well, don't you? That in your inventory, don't you? Basically.
Yeah. So things, for example, like this treasure shark was actually going to be sold. I put it on a wooden mount like this with the wooden base. It's an Australian grey gum, stuff like that. And these hooks, by the way, I didn't put them in. This shark was actually caught with 2 hooks in it. These are long line hooks. In other words, they are long line.
Yeah.
It's obviously very hungry or very stupid, and ended up with 2 hooks in its jaw. So stuff like that can be presented. Same thing with swordfish. So it's working with the client. And a lot of the time people sort of go, look, this is what I want. They have an idea in their head of what they want, and I work around that sort of thing. Same thing with the jaws.
Simon, everybody will want to know, what's the biggest shark you've worked on?
Well, the biggest one I actually worked on was a shark called Bondi, which I called Bondi because the guy who brought it to me, he'd bought a house in Bondi Beach. Everyone knows Bondi Beach from Bondi Restaurant, etc. And this thing was sitting in the garage. This jaw was massive. It's probably about a 6-meter white shark, probably. This is not a plug, but if you go onto my Facebook page or Instagram, you'll see the photograph of Bondi. The teeth on Bondi were, pretty close to something like this. This is actually one of the white shark teeth, which is a reproduction of a tooth. So Bondi was very, very big. It was a massive shark, and so when the guy brought it to me, this thing was just enormous. I couldn't believe it. So that was the one. You get all sorts of sharks. This one has got a bit of a history to it, a bit of a gruesome one, which I'm sure you guys, your followers will appreciate. Caught in 1976 after it had attacked and killed an abalone diver in South Australia. It's a white shark.
Right.
The guy who sent it to me to restore, that was his best mate. And so you can imagine, in those days, it was like, let's hunt a shark. So they went out and caught it.
Really? Because that's a serious hazard of abalone diving, isn't it? Is these great whites?
Look, it is, and it's one of those things. It's a really interesting thing because people sort of, you're sharing the ocean with a top predator like a shark. You're bound to encounter it. Chances are nothing will happen. I don't know if you've seen drone footages recently in Australia where they've got the drone floating over the surfers and the surfers are happy paddling away and there are white sharks swimming underneath them. You don't know. You don't know what's underneath.
Have you ever swam with sharks? Have you ever dived with them? Or
I have. Yeah, look, I have. And it's given me a whole new appreciation of these animals.
Yeah, I bet,
all the stuff that I do is commercially caught or it's caught by, for scientific purposes, etc. I don't actually hunt them.
No, of course, no.
I sort of just finalize it. But I mean, I went to Guadalupe in 2019 to dive with the whites, which was just an incredible thing that I've been down with Andrew and Rodney Fox in South Australia, diving with them. It's also incredible. So we're just scratching the surface of our knowledge of these animals because they're just insane. They're just incredible and they're beautiful creatures.
Yeah, they are absolutely amazing. So have you got specific items you want to show us, or should we just have a look at your whole?
Oh, look, as I said, it's just items which, as I said, I don't actually have a catalogue, but it's something which just to show you the sort of the diverse bits and pieces. Like, as I said, this Mako, for example, this was actually, it's for a client in Sydney. It was on a metal stand that I had built, purpose built. when I do these sharks, I keep pretty much everything is real.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
all of it is real.
Yeah.
Certainly the teeth are.
Yeah.
The eyes all get taken out and sort of then cleaned up that way. And makers are incredible. I mean, the snout on these things is just amazing.
Wow, yeah.
They're just beautiful animals. So there's that one. Things like this one, like the little thresher shark.
Yeah.
Just again, it's a different shape completely to what you would normally see.
Have you got any Simon? Have you got any hammerheads?
I just so happen to have one here.
There we go. Look, you read my mind. Someone was just asking about a hammerhead. That's insane. That looks alien-like, doesn't it?
Look, these hammerheads are just incredible. This is a smooth hammerhead. Then the Mokran, the great hammerhead, is even bigger. They're just massive, and just the what they call the cephalofoil, it's just incredible. Like, you know, the structure of the cartilage structure on these things, and again, it's, you know, inside brain cavity in there. And again,
because is that, I mean, you obviously know more, but it's an electric field that they have in there. Is it, like the lateral line linked to the head? Is that the sort of gist of it? Yeah.
That's it. When they swim, it's just basically this. It's two senses basically. The shark is what they used to call it as a swimming nose. So it's got the nose, which is obviously the olfaction, it's smell, and obviously and around here they call them the ampoules of Lorenzini, which are able to detect microscopic electrical impulses. So when they're swimming, they're able to detect prey around them, and that's really with any shark. They're able to sort of do that. But these hammerheads, when they swim, you can see they sort of swim
like that. So they're permanently searching.
Yeah, that's it. Then you've got a totally different type of skull again. That's a blue shark.
Well, we get them here.
Yeah, you do. You get a lot of blue in the UK, don't you? They're not really considered very good catchers with these sharks.
No, they're the biggest thing. No, I think we've got Mako here. I think, to be fair, I think they do go. Yeah, I think they do go fishing off. Might be off Wales or Ireland. I think they go for Mako. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Doing a lot of them around Spain and Portugal and what have you. I think now they're actually, they're protected now anyway. So it's unfortunately they can't do anything there. But I'll show you something a bit bizarre, a bit weird. Anyhow,
right, brilliant. Well, that's what we like.
Yeah, I know. Well, you guys, I'm sure that you guys will really appreciate that. These are, bizarrely enough, the guy sent it to me in the post. But these are the clampers of a white shark. In other words, penis of the white shark. Again, this was caught in 1981, I think it was.
Okay.
And it's just bizarre because, it has that thing in there that basically once it goes in, kind of stays in until it's finished.
Right.
It's one of those shows. Why not?
That's absolutely incredible. I'm sure that so many people would want to buy a great white shark penis, to be honest.
I've had requests, don't you worry. I've had requests.
Right, Simon. I've got something to show you, which is totally different to sharks, but I wanted to get your take on it. All right, because I thought usually what happens, you see, is usually the guest shows something and then I show something, or whoever's guest hosting. Right, so this is a bit really different, this one. Right.
Oh my god, it's a monkey, isn't it?
Well, that's what is meant to be one of these shrunken heads. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Have you ever seen anything like this before, Simon? It
reminds me of those dolls in the 60s and 70s called the Wushniks. Have you ever heard of those? They were just like they were like trolls.
Well, what this is this is obviously a fake, because a shrunken head is, you can't get them, or if they are, they're worth thousands basically. But it's an early fake of one, and it's really unusual because it's, I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, but you can see the actual hair is actually sort of, if you look right close, it's actually sort of growing on it. So I think the guy who I bought it off said it was a monkey, which is what you just said straight away. Someone's just put Tina Turner.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. When
yeah.
was that from? Was that from Europe or anywhere, or some of you Asia?
Well, these were originally from the Amazon, so Venezuela, that sort of area. But obviously, it's not like a real one, you know, like I said. But it probably was from there, and you know, they sold it as like a fake, and someone has brought it over.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And also, Simon, sorry, but what else I had? I got something else as well, because I usually show tea, but I've lost. Oh, and I thought I'd out trump you. Yeah, I thought I'd.
Yeah. Go for it. Oh, a make tooth. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. It looks like it's a lower jaw one.
Yeah. Do you see these? Do you have these? This was in an antique shop, just a local one, in the cabinet. Like, and I was like, well, I've got to have it if Simon's coming on.
Yeah, well, of course you do. You know, those actually, there are fossil people in the US and Europe who just go, that's all they specialize in.
Right. Okay.
I've got enough to do here with my real one, with the French one.
Yeah, because I mean, your great white one is bigger than that, isn't it? Like that's It's...
Oh, you get the big megalodons, which can go up to maybe 5 inches, 6 inches long.
Really?
They're massive sharks.
It's incredible, isn't it? That there was something like that was swimming out there.
No, and that's the thing, and they still find them. Like obviously, in the West they find a lot of them. I think in Belgium they find them as well. So they really are found all over the world. Which is amazing, and those teeth are just beautiful.
Yeah. So, I thought I just would get that over with. Now let's get back to what else you've got. Let's have a look at some more of these jaws then, mate. And then...
Right. And, for example, like this one is a big tiger shark. Tiger sharks in Australia are quite well known. They're
right.
They're not endangered. Well, they're not endangered yet. Anyhow,
because they eat turtles, don't they? So they must have real powerful jaws. Because I've seen that on.
They do. The jaws themselves, you can see, are they're quite thick. The jaw itself, the teeth themselves are very distinctive sort of type of tooth. But they can actually go through turtle shells without a problem at all.
That is incredible.
And they kind of, people dive with them, and they're sort of relatively docile.
Okay.
But of course, you know, the shark you have to worry about is the shark you can't see, which is obviously they're stealth predators. So these sharks will sort of swim up to you or what have you. But otherwise, it's pretty much people sort of try and keep away from them because they're quite big and they can be quite aggressive. And so then the other thing is, look, there's a variety of different sharks. I mean, I've got 3 freezers full of skulls, heads, and whatever.
So when you do, how do you get rid of the actual skin? Is it like an acid? Is it like, do you boil? How do you sort of talk us through? We don't want to take your secret. It's not. Is it? I know it's not probably a secret. It's your like recipe or something, isn't it? But just the brief.
Yeah, no, you can't. Any heat that's applied to sharks, the cartilage will just completely disintegrate. So you can't leave that. It's just pretty much it's scalpel work.
Really? Is it? Cool. That's time consuming. That is. Yeah.
Time consuming. It's removing all the skin, and then sort of just scraping and cleaning. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a guy in France who's just brilliant at what he does. He does skeletons and skulls as well, Sebastian and all. And he does full skeletons, and he uses a totally different technique as well. He uses like warm water. So there are a couple of people around who do stuff, and who are fantastic at it. I tend to sort of go to more the traditional type thing and just do my dissections.
Yeah.
And at least I know what I'm cutting into, because unfortunately cartilage, once you slice into it, you're sliced into it. And
Right.
that's it.
Yeah.
So it's
So
just
you've got,
repaired afterwards and what have you. Yeah, which
so
is
it's
a bit
glasses
more.
on, sit down, steady hand.
That's it. That's it. I'll tell you, I'm actually doing a jaw at the moment from a white shark, which is actually quite large. So unfortunately, it's on a board still. It's still drying out. But just to give you an idea of the size, I'll just move this back a bit.
Yeah, brilliant.
I'll just, it's a fairly big board, so you just have to sort of bear with me struggling with it.
No worries. Right, okay. Oh, I see. So you suspend it and then you just work on it on the board. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of, because cartilage itself will tend to, it moves a lot, it moves around a lot. So that's
And then obviously you've got to replace all the teeth, have you, with that then? Yeah. So do you have to, have you got a selection of teeth that in your locker, basically?
Yeah, basically what it is that, so this one is the real one.
Yeah.
And then this one is the reproduction one.
Okay.
So it's a question of getting them to the point whereby the real tooth always goes to the front, and the fake one, the reproduction one, goes behind it. Because as you can see,
save on real ones, basically. Yeah.
You can see all the rows behind it.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. So how many goes behind? Loads.
Usually about 5 rows. 5
wow.
rows.
That's ridiculous.
And
Someone's just asked, what's the weirdest thing you have found in a shark's stomach?
Okay, I read that. I just read that now.
Yeah.
Well, look, I haven't found any number plates, so I haven't found anything else like that, like in Jaws. But we, when there were game fishing tournaments, the big tigers, they would bring them in, and in those days we were able to actually dissect them on the dock. Now things have changed. But I found seals, seal heads. I found baby seals, baby dolphins in the stomach, tunas, pretty much anything. Tiger sharks are like, the garbage collectors of the ocean.
Yeah, they just going about. Yeah, that's incredible.
And so they'll eat anything. And it's
a baby dolphin. That's mad, isn't it? You'd think that'd be able to get away from them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and years ago, people used to say, "Oh, look, when you see dolphins, you're safe. The sharks aren't around." But it's not something that you to market yourself. No, it doesn't work that way. The sharks won't be there. Don't worry.
Right, Simon. So it's getting towards the end of the half an hour, mate. So just like to say massive thank you for joining us. Now, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, because obviously I think people are going to be interested in these. Obviously, they've just got to direct message you, and then you can just talk to them direct. You don't mind that? No, that's all cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, always happy to any questions, whatever it is, just contact me either through Instagram, or there's the Elasmo-Morph, my webpage, or Facebook. I mean, social media now, everyone's on social media, so you can't miss it. So, look, and as I said, if I haven't got it and I can get it and it's legally acquired, I will work with the people. As I said, look, I do this as a kind of a thing for clients and to work with them. Not a catalogue of stuff. I'm not
no. It's more a bespoke thing, isn't it, basically? Also, I was interested. So I think I saw on your page before. Was it a tiger fish? Not obviously. Did you do a tiger fish? Yeah, because they're incredible, aren't they?
There was a bit of a bartering thing with one of my clients in Japan who wanted one, and in return he was going to give me some goblin sharks, which actually worked out quite well. So it's a question. It's contact. So over 40 years, I've managed to make a lot of contacts. So if I don't have it, I'll find someone who does have something. And that's because
have you ever seen those Goliath tiger fish? Have you ever seen them?
And incredible. I know they're amazing. They're huge. I think Jeremy Wade was doing the program.
Yes, he's the river monsters. Yes, he caught one, didn't he? It was incredible. Yeah, that's where I think he's probably one of the only people that there isn't many people that have caught one, you know, apart from obviously the people native to the river. Yeah, it was amazing. But the jaws on that are just ridiculous, aren't they?
I know, they're insane. They're insane.
Right, Simon, I better wrap this up, mate, because it's time. But this has been absolutely amazing. And obviously, if you'd like to come back on in the future, if you know, just hit me up with B, and if you've got something weird, I'll put it on the page. You know, it'd be brilliant.
I'd
mate.
love to do that. Yeah, I mean, look, we're in lockdown at the moment. I could have actually gone to get a lot of stuff. We're in Sydney. We're in lockdown, so we can't travel more than 5 kilometers out of our area. So
really?
I go to my storage. Otherwise, I got a lot more stuff. So maybe we can do another session of one stage. I can put more stuff for you to have a look at.
That would be brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Right, thanks, and thanks everybody for tuning in again for another Stranger Things. It's been brilliant. Thanks, Simon. Cheers.
Thanks for that. See you. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.